A close-up of a hand reaching for a heavy brass doorknob. The hallway is lined with flickering, warm Edison bulbs. As the fingers graze the metal, the brass begins to turn into jagged, frosted ice. Frost creeps up the person's sleeve. The low, rhythmic thrum of a heartbeat. Underneath, the sound of high-tension wires humming. As the ice spreads, a sharp, crystalline cracking sound echoes. You've been climbing for years. Your lungs are seasoned by the thin air of effort, and finally, the summit is in view. The door is right there, but suddenly, your legs feel like lead. You pick a fight with the person you love most. You miss a deadline. You forget to show up. Cut to a POV shot looking down at a cracked porcelain mask lying on a cold marble floor. The camera tilts up to a dark, empty mirror. The heartbeat stops abruptly. Absolute silence. Most people call this bad luck. They call it the universe testing them. They are wrong. This isn't a test from the outside, it's an execution from the inside. You aren't failing because you aren't ready. You're failing because you're terrified of who you'll become once you win. A wide, cinematic shot of a man sitting at a massive mahogany desk in a room with no windows. Thousands of blue-tinted digital files float in the air around him. He looks exhausted, his shadow stretching unnaturally long across the floor. The faint, hollow sound of wind whistling through a canyon, distant echoes of a clock ticking. In psychology, we call this the upper limit problem. Every one of us has an internal thermostat for how much success, love, and abundance we allow ourselves to feel. When the heat of your success exceeds your setting, your subconscious trips the circuit breaker. You have spent your entire life identifying as the striver, the underdog, or the one who struggles. That identity is your armor. It's heavy, it's rusted, but it's safe. Success requires you to take the armor off, and in that gap between the person you were and the winner you're becoming, there is a void, a silence where no one is witnessing the old you anymore. To your ego, that silence feels like death. So it breaks something, anything, just to feel the familiar weight of the struggle again. A dark room. A beautiful ceramic bowl falls in slow motion and shatters into a dozen pieces. A pair of hands enters the frame, picking up the shards. Instead of glue, the hands use a glowing, molten mold to fuse the pieces back together. The sound of liquid metal pouring, a warm, searing hiss. A low cello melody begins to rise, moving from a minor to a major key. The Japanese call it Kintsugi. They don't hide the break, they illuminate it with gold. Your self-sabotage, that moment you tripped at the finish line, isn't a sign that you're broken. It is the moment your old identity finally cracked under the pressure of your potential. The gold is the awareness. Most people try to superglue their old selves back together, hoping to return to the safety of the struggle. But you are going to fill those cracks with the realization that the fear of success is actually just the birth pangs of a higher version of yourself. The fracture is where the light gets in. It's where the next you begins. Text overlays appear in a minimalist, elegant serif font against a backdrop of moving tectonic plates. A deep, percussive thump for each rule. The music becomes rhythmic and driving. To stop the sabotage, you must rewrite the laws of your internal kingdom. Here are the 3 rules of the sovereign framework. You must consciously expand your capacity for joy. When things are going well, don't wait for the other shoe to drop. Instead, sit in the discomfort of the good. Feel the sun on your face until it burns slightly. Tell your brain, this level of success is my new normal. If you don't stretch the container, the spirit will always overflow and waste. Stop telling the story of how hard you've had it. That story served you when you were climbing, but it's a noose now that you've arrived. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your results. If you keep wearing the rags of your past, you'll never feel at home in the palace of your future. Your ego needs to destroy something, so give it a controlled burn. When you feel the urge to self-sabotage, intentionally give up a small thing. Sacrifice a minor habit, a comfort food, or an hour of sleep to the work. Give the shadow self a small tribute, so it doesn't demand the whole kingdom. We return to the opening scene. The hand reaches for the brass doorknob. This time, as the frost begins to creep up the sleeve, the person doesn't flinch. They look at the ice with a calm, knowing smile. The heat from their hand melts the frost instantly. The door swings open into a room of blinding, soft white light. A soaring, cinematic orchestral swell, the sound of a heavy door opening, followed by the chirping of birds and the sound of a calm ocean. You will feel the urge to break your life again. The higher you go, the louder the ghosts of your old limitations will scream. But now you know their name. They aren't omens of failure, they are the echoes of a version of you that no longer exists. The person steps through the door. The camera stays in the hallway as the door closes. On the door, in gold lettering, it reads, "Welcome home." Success isn't about never falling. It's about finally realizing that you are the one who has been pushing yourself down, and then simply choosing to stand up. The music drops to a single, resonant piano note. Fade to black. Stop fighting the ceiling. You are the sky.